The Mystery of Sugisawa Village, Japan's Cursed Lost Village, by Adamnyu.
Sometimes, stories emerge from the shadows that blur the lines between myth and reality. These are the type of stories that tend to stay in our minds, that make us wonder just how much we really know about the world we all live in. Stories such as the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, and Bloody Mary are all stories that have been passed down from generations, evolving with each retelling of said story. These stories persist throughout time because they speak to something instinctual within us.
Sure.
A fascination with the unknown. Tonight, I want to take you deep into the mountains of Japan, to a place that may or may not even exist. This is the story of Sugisawa Village, the cursed village erased from existence.
I mean, I've heard of things like Kuchisake Onna. I've heard of the Dharma, was it the Dharma bathroom game? I've delved down a lot of spooky rabbit holes. I don't think I've actually come across Sugisawa Village. That's interesting. I always like finding things that I've never heard about and just learning.
I first stumbled upon this story when researching about Fatal Frame 2, as I had just finished the first installment, and I saw that it had been the basis of the sequel. This connection fascinated me, which made me want to research it more, but unfortunately, the actual story of the village is quite hard to find, at least in English, considering the story is based in Japan.
Sure.
Much of the information is shrouded in local lore and often gets lost in translation. Although despite this, the pieces that I did manage to uncover reveal the story steeped in mystery. This compelled me more to dig deeper into the origins of the story. Now, before we continue, it's important to note that there's no concrete evidence to show that the village ever existed.
Okay.
No official record, no historical documents, nothing. However, that's where things start to get interesting. Nevertheless, the story and legend persist, and over the years, it's grown into something far more sinister. You see, this isn't just a ghost story. It's a place that some may say you can still find, if you're unlucky enough.
I like the mic work is definitely interesting in this. The beginning was very very evocative of, older TVs, older audio. The audio is really clear. I heard the breath on that one. I like the audio work. I think it's a very good experience, something that headphones would definitely work very well with. Big pause.
The legend of Sugisawa Village began to surface around the early 1990s, during which the internet was still in its infancy and urban legends were starting to find a new kind of life online. Despite the story originally telling us the events take place in the early Showa era, the story became popular in the digital age. It was one of the first major urban myths to spread like wildfire throughout Japanese forums and message boards. The legend of the village has its roots in the mountains of Aomori Prefecture, the place where the village is said to have existed. It's difficult to find as it's not located on the main road and is only reachable by abandoning that road and going off path. However, there are...
So we are seeing some parallels to Inunaki Village, right? The one we discussed previously as the village that quote unquote, the Constitution of Japan does not apply here, insert, morally heinous things that people did there, cult worship, magic, etc., right? Very, very similar parallels, very similar format.
Several key signs that you have stumbled upon Sugisawa Village. 1. There's a sign at the entrance that states, "You must not proceed past this point. There can be no guarantee for your life if you do."
Okay.
There are variations on the exact wording, but in every version, the sign states that if you go past it, you'll be in big trouble.
So that actually is not an inherently odd thing. especially if you are translating from Japanese into English. So once again, I speak a little bit. I speak just enough Japanese to get me in trouble. Let's put it that way. Kip, do you speak English though? Because I mean, the way you speak English, yeah. 英語は話し事できません。わかります？わかりますか？God, where was I going with that? Totally lost. I speak a little bit of Japanese, and so you learn more. The way I learned it was more kind of like formal, I guess, because there's like formal and then there's like informal Japanese. To where if I were to say something like I'm gonna go to school, it's like watashi wa gakko ni ikimasu, right? Or ikimasu yo, like let's go to school, right? Versus being able to, in more, I guess, like casual, it's kind of like just like ikuyo, right? You know, let's go to school in reference to school. So if you have something that's like, you know, gakko ni ikimasho, which is effectively, I would translate that to like, let's go to school, right? Let's go to school. But it could be contextually, because Japanese is a very contextual language. Contextually, it could be like, let us all, plural, go to school. Or you know, maybe it was like, you know, what do you want to do tomorrow? Let's go to school, right? Very contextual based on the conversation. I love it. I need to practice way more Japanese. I'm definitely going to shock some people because they're going to be like, Kip, wait, you know something in Japanese? I dream occasionally in Japanese. That's really funny. It's really funny because I'm just like, I shouldn't understand half of what's being said, but it's great.
2. There is an old red shrine gate at the entrance to the village, beneath which you'll find a stone that's shaped like a skull. 3.
Okay.
Upon entering the village, you'll find several abandoned buildings with bloodstains on the walls.
Nice.
Almost all accounts tell that the people who have found the village were there accidentally by driving into the entrance, and there is one account where someone found it accidentally whilst mountain climbing. There are some reports stating that there are certain weather phenomena occurring before they've discovered the village, like rain or snow. It's uncertain if the village itself produces its own weather the same way that the surrounding area does, or if these events are just meteorological coincidences. One day, a man was consumed by a sudden madness, launching into a violent rampage that left no one in the small village alive. He slaughtered every resident before taking his own life. When it was over, the village was completely devoid of life. In the aftermath, the village was wiped from official maps, and all records of its existence was quietly erased. The land was absorbed into a nearby town, and the story of the massacre spread throughout the prefecture. However, few dared to approach the abandoned site. Rumors circulated that the village was cursed, haunted by evil spirits, and that anyone who entered would never return.
That's a very human thing to do, though, right? Like, can you imagine in a the whole nuclear waste thing? Is it under Scotland? I'm trying to remember where it's at specifically. That's supposed to be like the vault to deal with nuclear waste that isn't going to be like actually safe to be around for hundreds of thousands of years, right? Like they put it because it's in a geologically like safe spot. So can you imagine, if you will, or we can look at the country of Georgia for this, right? Plainly Difficult did a video on the Georgia incident where there was just this like nuclear device kind of just in the middle of the snow, and the snow had melted around it. So imagine, if you will, you're someone in the near distant future, very, very just cool basic humanity thing, and they just come across this thing that just radiates heat. But you know, you came back from this place where the snow would not touch, and suddenly your hand is inflated, and you know, maybe you're you know, insert extreme radiation poisoning symptom here, right? Don't want to go into super detail, right? But it's like, would you not assume something like that is cursed? Now, am I necessarily being dismissive of it? Not necessarily. What I am pointing out is humans have a way to assign explanations to things that they don't really know about. What is it, miasma theory? Which the joke was like, oh yeah, well, I mean, they were correct 30% of the time, because it's one of the ways that disease gets spread, right? You know, airborne, right? But miasma theory obviously not holding water as we know modern disease vector standards, right? So Yeah, like this is very much a thing where something unexplained could happen or something could happen, and because of, word of mouth, game of telephone, etc., something is just labeled as cursed. Not necessarily that it's based on any historical fact. That is just a very human thing to do.
Some people kept the village's location a secret, refusing to share it. They feared that anyone who ventured there would meet a tragic end. As the years passed, those who held this knowledge began to die off, taking the village's whereabouts to the grave. One day, that mindset changed. Word began to spread, reaching distant cities across Japan. The obscure tale of Sugisawa Village, along with the vague hints of its location, started to capture the attention of those beyond the region. After decades of forgotten history, people began to wonder where this cursed place could be, and the legend that had been buried started to resurface, drawing curious minds back to the mystery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's Centralia, Pennsylvania, the town that just burns because there's a coal fire that's actively going on beneath the ground, right? Yeah. How many people, if they had no knowledge of it, would just look at that and go, "No, that's cursed, bro. No, that's actually just that we do not go to the smoking town," right? Very, very humanesque. I also love the lower poly assets, like the map and stuff that are rotating, like gravestone stuff. I'm loving it. It's peak. It's very PS1, PS2 era. I'm kind of loving it.
Of Sugisawa. And so, what was once forgotten slowly crept back into the collective consciousness, awakening a new generation's curiosity about the horrors that might still linger in the shadows of the lost village.
Unbelievable. 日本のある場所、まるでブレアウィッチプロジェクトの物語に酷似した背筋を震え上がらせる恐怖の村が実在するという情報を突き止めた。その恐怖の村とはSugisawa村。
I do love the Japanese keyboard. I do, because I actually use it on my phone and stuff. If I were to actually because it's the hiragana that gets typed out, Sugisawa, and then it actually will you can hit enter or something, and then it actually contracts into whatever kanji you're looking for. So if I was talking about rain versus ame, ame, and then go to rain or whatever variant, right? I like it. I think the Japanese keyboard is super tech.
果たしてその杉沢村は実在するのか。杉沢村で実際に起こった恐怖現象とは。今夜幻の杉沢村を徹底リサーチ。本当にあった日本版ブレアウィッチプロジェクト杉沢村伝説の全てに迫る。
I haven't thought about TV static in a hot minute. Good God.
The story got popular, it caught the attention of mainstream media, and in 2000, a Japanese TV show called Kiseki Taiken Unbelievable made the decision to cover the mystery. This episode was a significant moment as the legend of the village was broadcasted to a much wider audience. The crew set out to uncover the truth, searching not only the Aomori prefecture, where the village was rumored to be, but also exploring similar stories from across Japan.
幻の杉沢村を求め、スタッフは曇天の青森空港に到着。スタッフを乗せた車は青森市街へ向かった。
What was the con on that? Is Aomori Blue Forest? Yep, that would be it.
スタッフを乗せた車は青森市街へ向かった。最初に訪れたのは青森県庁。ここで杉沢村についての情報を得ることにした。それ言います。青森のですね県内に杉沢村っていうですね村が存在したという話を聞いてちょっといろいろ調べてるんですけど、今県内に杉沢村という村はないですか？ございません。青森で杉沢村って知ってます？鳥ある入り口に鳥が車さうちの手数がバチ出た。
どこにあるかがよくわからなくて、霊が見たとか見えるという噂ですけどはありますね。
To be fair, Japanese ghosts are kind of wild, right? The whole Dharma fell down game. It's like Bloody Mary on like actual cocaine. Because like what is the principle? Someone's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. The whole principle is like you're talking about how Dharma had an accident and she fell down. I guess she fell down like some kind of faucet and impaled her head on it or something like that. So you're supposed to talk about her, and then she like appears like outside of your peripheral for like the next 24 hours, and you're not supposed to let her catch you, or she just game ends you. To which I guess part of that game is you can actually play a round 2, but she's actually on like hard mode because she moves way faster. Dude, all I'm gonna say, Japanese ghost urban legend topics are metal AF. Like they're actually built different. Like sure, we got Bloody Mary, we got the Three Kings game, right? We got what is it? It's the 11-mile highway challenge or whatever. People know what I'm talking about if they've seen them. But like I'm just like, okay, but Japan, because Japan goes way too hard.
再び聞き込みを開始。ついに有力な情報の持ち主が現れた。ちょっと聞きたいんですけど、行ったことあります？行ったことあります。はい。この山のどこかに杉沢村がある。目印は古ぼけた鳥居、ドクロのような石、そして廃墟。
After receiving information from their contact in Aomori, the crew set out to search for torii gates across the prefecture. They spend their
I will critique, and this is just like a friendly critique kind of thing. I think the audio shifts a little too wildly. I don't know how you maybe you normalize it. I'm not entirely sure. It sounds like he's really echoey right now. If the mic was a little more consistent, I think he'd be on the money. I think going from, I mean, the TV made sense in the beginning, right? And then it went to like really good mic quality, and now it's kind of echoey. If that was completely static, I think he'd be on the money. I think that this channel would be right on the money. And maybe this is an earlier video they've done. I don't know. Just kind of things like, you know, friendly critique kind of thing, because I'm loving this so far. I like this. I like coming from this perspective.
entire day searching the area, but despite their efforts, they couldn't find a single one. Frustration began to set in, and they were on the verge of giving up. That was until...
That is an ooh. That doesn't look like that's been upkept at all. Surely this would be private property in some capacity, right? Like that would be my worry. Like if I was urban exploring, right, and I was able to find, say, in the US, and I was able to find just this, like, you know, say like a cross, just a giant cross in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, right? And I'm just like, or in the forest, right? And I'm like, huh, okay, that's an odd one. And then I go in and I go a little bit further, and maybe there's like some buildings or graves or something like that. I at some point I would assume, sure, maybe abandoned, but like whose private property would I be on? But then again, I guess I just come from a really like weird perspective on the subject. That would be one of the first things that I would look at, though, is like, huh, am I on someone's private property right now? Or is this, and then follow up, is this actually abandoned? I just remembered, I know why it's now boxed now, because VHS was filmed at not 1080p or 720p, right? So you probably have what 3:4 aspect ratio rather than 16:9. So this is actually a really cool way of dealing with the smaller quality footage. I like that. I had to think on it for a second. I'm like, why is it boxed in the way that it is? That makes a lot of sense, actually. That way, because if this was blown up, right? If this was blown up to full size, like actual 69, we would be missing details because the aspect ratio would be blown up, be very blurry, pixely, etc. I like this. I think it's a good use of dark space on screen. I think it's cool.
かなりの古さを感じさせた。さらに比較的新しいと思われる建物に誰かいるかと声をかけたが返事はなく、建物の前には立ち入り禁止の建札。
The crew eventually stumbled upon what appeared to be Sugisawa Village, or at least something that closely resembled it. As they explored the area, they discovered all three signs that suggested they had indeed found the village.
我々はカメラを廃墟に向け一晩中撮影することにした。そして午後9時、午後10時を回った。画面には何の変化も現れない。深夜12時を過ぎても目立った変化はない。結局我々のカメラの前に亡霊らしきものが姿を現すことはなかった。ここは本当に杉沢村なのだろうか。
The following morning, the crew interviewed a local of the village they had discovered. When asked if this was Sugisawa Village, the man explained that it was not. Instead, it was a place where his ancestors had lived for generations, now developed into a residential area that belonged to him.
Yeah.
Interestingly, he shared their curiosity, expressing his own interest to find the real Sugisawa Village. The episode concludes with the crew returning.
Yeah, so that would align with being, the logic of, is this private property, right? On assumption that this is a good faith interview, right? Yeah, this is, what this is, and evidence can be provided that, yeah, my family lived there for generations, right? Like, all of that would match up with it just being private property in some capacity, or just not the actual village that they're looking for, right?
To Aomori, continuing their search by questioning more locals about the elusive village. Eventually, they encounter someone who claimed to have visited Sugisawa and even had a photograph to prove it. However, the photo was taken during winter, making it nearly impossible to identify the location due to the drastic changes in the landscape across different seasons.
Yeah, that's not a lot to go on.
The program made a confident claim. Sugisawa Village might exist in a space-time warp, a place that appears and disappears at will.
Whoa, okay, well, we've definitely skipped a couple things there. We've skipped some steps in that logical process here. It's like when people mention oh god, what is it? Simulation theory, how that's like what, a class 4 multiverse. Like when you're already getting to multiverse, you're already in such a theoretical branch of science. And then to just be like, oh, well, simulation theory. I mean, if it's space level, you can go, yeah, that makes sense. But okay, but why does it make sense? Like, how does it actually function and stuff like that? Like, dude, there are steps in logic to get to this point. Like, that was a jump.
Slipping in and out of our reality. This idea only fueled the legend further, inspiring countless individuals to embark on their own journey to find a village. In recent years, thrill seekers and paranormal investigators have ventured into the Japanese countryside, determined to uncover the truth behind the village. Yet, every search ends in the same way, leaving them with more questions than answers. The power of the legend lies in its ability to tap into our deepest fears of the unknown.
Yeah.
It's a story that reminds us that some things are better left undisturbed, but some mysteries are better left unsolved. If you have time, I would really recommend watching the entire episode of Sugisawa Village, as I only covered just a fraction of what actually happened. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown. Until next time.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fairly interesting. I liked the presentation. I liked the use of dark space on screen.
Okay, hello. This is going to be unscripted. I'm re-recording this because I forgot to fucking press record.
Nice. I do it.
But yeah. Basically what I said was, what I'm going to say again is thank you for watching. This is my first time doing anything horror related or like horror media related. As I promised, like in my previous video, I wanted to focus more on. I take heavy inspo, and I watch a lot of content from people like Nexpo, Virtual Carbon, Nick Crowley,
Crowley's good.
On George or Jorge.
He's good.
And basically the entire like horror YouTube genre. I used to watch Scare Theater when he was really active, but he's not really active as of late. But yeah, I've been like a huge fan of those like content creators, and I'm trying my best to like not replicate, but I guess replicate their type of content, because that's.
I wouldn't necessarily say replicate. You're trying to emulate them to a degree, or you're taking inspiration from them, and then you're trying to find your own style. I think that's great.
What I enjoy watching. I really enjoy horror. But yeah, funnily enough, whilst I was doing my research for this, speaking of research, it was very difficult considering, it was in Japanese. I'm self-studying Japanese, but it was still really hard. So shout out Google Translate and DeepL. Funnily enough, whilst I was like doing my research, the episodes of the Sugisawa Village was uploaded like a week ago. So I honestly think it was meant to be. And yeah, I really hope this type of content is what you guys like, because I enjoy it. But yeah, I want to make a new video try to upload in the next 2 to 3 weeks about someone related to Smart Schoolboy 9. I think that's what it's called. But somewhere around like that area.
I've heard about that. I don't know what it is.
I've been looking at the subreddit and saw that some YouTubers have been like not correcting their like fact checking, and it really like pissed them off. So I'll try my best to like, research wisely. But yeah, once again, I appreciate if you're still here and watching. Yeah, bye-bye.
No, that was good. I liked it. Down in the description down below, you'll see a link to the original video, as well as a link to this original channel. And definitely recommend that you check them out, because content like this, I want content like this to definitely get rewarded. Like, it's so cool. That is I like the presentation, especially when I had to justify, like, oh yeah, no, that's why. Yeah, because it's VHS, right? I thought this was cool, especially if this is an early attempt at content. I like it. I thought this was really good. I will recommend, if you are wanting kind of to take in information to kind of influence how you want to do things, Mr. Ballin's great. Into the Fog with Peter Laws, someone I've actually found recently. They're pretty good on that. As people bring up in chat, they brought up people like Lore Lodge, Wendigoon. They're pretty good creators as well. Depending if you want to go true crime or not. I mean, Simon Whistler does have his Casual Criminalist podcast kind of thing. So things to like hear if you want that. If you wanted more examples of how other people do things, Mr. Scare, Mr. Nightmare, people like that on YouTube as well. I like this. If there is a new up and coming horror content creator, I'm all game. So thank you everyone for watching. Definitely go and support the original video, because I didn't know about Sugisawa Village literally until this. This is really cool. And go support the original uploader. Go ahead and go support him. And I'll see you all in the next one.